Hey guys, thanks for dropping by my channel. But before we get into today's episode, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. Thank you guys so much for your support and enjoy this episode. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on this episode of Flight of Fancy. I'm excited to introduce Ayanna. She is creating her legacy as the owner and 420 travel specialist at Front Row Travels. Her company's mission is to break the stigma and educate travelers on the usage of weed and CBD usage. So Ayanna, welcome to Flight of Fancy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited. You said yes to be here today.
Yes, I had to. I always like an opportunity to, talk to the audience and tell them what Front Row Travels is all about and learn from them as well.
Absolutely. So, Ayanna, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, my name is Ayanna Lawson. I am owner and medical marijuana patient. I'm owner of Front Row Travels, a full-service cannabis travel agency, and I'm a medical marijuana patient. I cultivate travel experiences for medicinal and recreational users to places all around the world so that they can learn about and consume cannabis or, marijuana openly, freely, and without judgment.
Nice. I like that. So tell me a little bit about how and why you got started with Front Row Travels.
I've been doing what I call traditional travel, your regular hotel stay, going to have family vacation fun. I've been doing traditional travel for about 4 years. And in April of 2018, I decided to focus strictly on cannabis travel. It's a way for, me to enter the green rush, as it's called. You can't turn too many places without hearing about cannabis somehow, some way, whether it be CBD, hemp, or just all the laws that's changing. So my contribution to the industry was to, get people talking about it and its medicinal benefits and break the stigma strictly through travel and education.
Absolutely. So where do you think that stigma comes from? Like, why do you think people have such a negative view on the use of cannabis, and possibly now with CBD becoming a little more to the forefront with healing for certain ailments and things like that?
Cannabis, it's been like an open type of, anti-campaign against cannabis for I don't want to say centuries, I'm sorry, since 1930s or so, with the reefer madness and how it's a whole historical background. There's so much to get into. It's like a whole separate podcast. But I just think the information that we've been fed over the years and the negativity surrounding it has kind of, prompted people to look or frown upon using cannabis. It's sort of like a stoner's thing. It makes you lethargic and unproductive when that's absolutely far from the truth. Like, I am a cannabis user, and I'm an active and productive mom, wife, business owner, friend, et cetera, et cetera.
So let me ask, was there anything prior to your use that prompted you to start using it, or was it, just tell me a little bit about that.
Just in general, seeing, Front Row Travels was started with Black women in mind. Mm-hmm. We are the most likely to suffer from stress, anxiety, and depression, but still the least likely to get help. Mm-hmm. And just, being a Black woman, being raised by Black women, having so many in my life that influence me, I see what we go through daily. But, cannabis has shown to reduce these factors, yet we're still, struggling and looking for answers and prescription meds, or just going unchecked in general about our own health. So I wanted to help break that stigma and show that you can be productive, you can be, a good mom with the help of cannabis. It's not it's not in lieu of cannabis. With the help of it, you can actually reduce some of those pressures that we feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because just with the there was this event that I'd gone to probably a couple months ago or so, and there was a setup, with the CBD and all that. And so, I was very interested in it because and since then I actually ventured in, have gotten some oil. And I will say it definitely does help with, my anxiety a little bit. So with what you had said about just getting your health checked and all of that, I think it is very important to tap into other resources than just, your traditional medicines and things like that. And I mean, I totally feel good after using it, and like you said, not feeling real lethargic or anything like that. But I know the cannabis and CBD are like, different strands and stuff like that, but I do.
It's so much information out there. I'm still learning every day, so
awesome.
I was like, don't feel bad, we're all on a different path in our journey. Some of us are more advanced than others. It's still, even though most advanced are still learning, so we're all in this journey together.
Absolutely.
But I also know there's alternatives, and I don't want, anybody to just completely turn their back on any, healing opportunity, be it through meditation, marijuana, prescription meds, whatever. But we are seeing that, cannabis is a healthier option for some of these choices that we've been given.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. Now I know you said like we're, everyone's still kind of learning, from first timers or avid users and things like that. But are there any books or any podcasts or any material that you gravitate towards to help with your knowledge of cannabis and CBD usage?
So it's so odd. I used to be an avid reader, but the more you the more you start a business, try to maintain and run that within family, my leisure time has shrunk considerably. So a lot of things are, off the web, or a friend in the industry have recommended, because I have a few friends that have, their own CBD lines, and it's like through research and trial and tribulation, they've kind of gotten this, this product helps them with their specific ailment, and they want to share it with others too. Mm-hmm. So it's so many. I did not prepare for this. As far as all my favorite my favorite resources. So I don't have resources so much because it's so much changing information. So if I see something that comes across the New York Times, I have to still be leery of opinion pieces versus actual research. And that goes both ways, pro-cannabis or anti-cannabis. But, of course, I still, see what the government says about certain research they found. So the Institute of Health, I don't want to say the CDC as far as, it being the end-all be-all cannabis, but it does have some pretty good, some interesting research and things that were done. Podcast, again, I'm so bad. I feel guilty as a business owner. Anytime I have free time, it's like I'm supposed to be doing something. I can't, you know what I mean? When it's leisure time, you're like, okay, I should either be asleep, I should be eating, I'm missing something vital. So I haven't gotten on my podcast game like I'm supposed to. You have any suggestions?
Well, other than this one, no. But
no, that was a given.
No, but yeah. So when you were talking about your downtime and leisure and all that, that made me think about a Netflix show that I was watching. She did that. And I got so excited because one of the women that they were interviewing was Lovey Ajayi, and she has her own podcast, Rants and Randomness, and she also has
I do know Lovey. I follow her on social media.
Yep. So I definitely would recommend her. Shout out to my sister. She actually has a travel podcast that features travel specifically for study abroad and the African American experience. So, and her podcast is called Stamped. So, I would say check that out. It is on Apple and some other platforms out there. So definitely check that out. I'm trying.
I mean, of course, I have my like favorite travel personalities like Kelly Edwards and Onika the Traveler and people of that caliber. I love everything they do, but like I said, I'm like an old 80-year-old man in a 42-year-old body. Like, I don't like Instagram. I don't like Facebook. I don't like any of these new fandangled inventions. So I really just read magazine articles. I'll subscribe to Travel and Leisure, and that's how I keep up. So don't tell anybody that.
I got secret is safe with me.
It's just it's horrible. So I know I'm gonna have to step into the new millennium eventually. But until then,
you'll be fine.
I do have my favorite personalities, but I just don't always do the stuff that's easy to sit and listen. I have to read their material.
I gotcha. Yeah, and then one other person that I do listen to is Side Hustle Pro. I do listen to that podcast. So she kind of features African American women's stories, and some are entrepreneurs, some are high ranking in certain fields and stuff like that. So it's kind of good to hear their stories as well, and just kind of listen how they got started, or what avenues they took to get to where they are, because and it's probably a good thing that you're not that into social media because social media
only because the job requires it.
right, because social media does have that crazy stigma, oh, I'm so awesome, but yet in real life we're struggling a little bit here and there. So
a lot.
Yes.
A lot everywhere. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so that persona.
I try to be pretty transparent on, my social media.
Right.
As far as just, what's it like running a business? What's it like being in this business? As much as I can share.
Absolutely.
I do, and don't try to sugarcoat it.
And that's good, because that's what people want to hear. At least I know for me anyways, because, hearing the success is obviously good. But for me, I definitely want to know the grind and the struggles of what, may have come into place, or how you overcame certain things. So I definitely feel you on that. And I try to do that as well. I remember posting a video on my Instagram, and I was just okay, so I'm basically, because at the time I was just chilling, doing my audio in my closet and stuff like that. So I'm just chilling. I'm oh my gosh, I'm laying here editing. I don't know why I was in the closet editing, but that was for another story. But, so I'm just it is whatever time, and I'm still up, you know what I mean? So it's just I don't, I have some glamorous things, and then I have some not some glamorous things as well. So
yes, I posted my not so glamorous picture. It was after 18 hours at the computer, and my bathrobe is tied around my head. I am in my robe, my PJs for the day, and it was they don't tell you this.
Nope.
In a brochure, they don't tell you this 18-hour day of just sitting here doing the most tedious task that has to be done.
Yeah.
And they make it look fun, and it's not, especially when you hate doing it.
Right. I agree.
Writing something. Some people are numbers people. They love crunching numbers all day. I hate accounting. I hate, numbers, period. I love words and reading, but everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. But
yeah,
they gotta all be something in your business.
I know, because on the real, I do numbers and stuff like that in my 9-to-5 life. So it's with my business, yes, it does help me for, those accounting purposes, but I truly feel I would want to outsource that, because I know what I go through on a daily basis, and I am highly creative, you know what I mean? So I would love to spend more of my time creating content and just doing that versus adding, subtracting, dividing, finding, you know what I mean? So
I just want to know that I pay my taxes and how much money I'm gonna get.
Right.
Is everything paid That's all I need to know.
Absolutely. I feel you on that one. But while we're still kind of like talking about successes and struggles, what are some struggles and successes that have come your way since creating your business?
Not just me, but just the cannabis industry in general. Like, of course, our biggest struggle is federal prohibition is still looming. So at, any moment, the federal government can decide that it's, they still have it scheduled. They still have marijuana scheduled as a Schedule 1 drug, treated as bad as, like heroin and other opioids that are on the market. So though it's still legal on, certain state levels, it's still very much illegal on the federal level. So it's still, the risk of arrest, of raids and things that you all probably see on the internet, they're still very much happening. I don't even touch the plant directly. I'm more of an ancillary business. So sort of like, the plastics company that provides the packaging for the, cannabis or something like that. I'm not directly affiliated with the plant or touching the plant, but I still, have issues when it comes to payment processors. So we don't have access to traditional banking because it is, still federally prohibited.
Right.
So small business loans are not normally something we are able to use. Even just regular PayPal, payment links, or going into Bank of America or something and setting up an account is not something that we are really allowed to do. So just operating, though, billions are made every year so far off of the industry in general, they still don't want to see it as legal, but they'll take that tax dollar, though.
Yeah, right.
Sam has happily collected his $4 billion last year in taxes.
Wow.
But, he's able to play both sides of the fence. So we'll keep it illegal, but we'll take your illegal, quote unquote, illegal tax dollars. Mm-hmm. So, just legislation's a big, a big struggle, but it's coming along. It is. It's something every day. It can be as small as, your Facebook account being shut down. So now you can't reach your audience, to, hey, your cultivation center had got, robbed or raided. So it's not as glamorous as one would think, but
right.
It's coming along. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting because and I know like how you're just talking about the laws and things like that, like certain states it is legal and everything like that. So I do want to ask you this question, and then we can jump into your successes. But with it being legal, in some states and things like that, with the drug testing, like what, I guess I kind of have a two-parter, because I've seen where, there's some articles where some states are bypassing that as a requirement, when testing. So what are your thoughts on the testing for marijuana, especially if the state is legal or approves it as legal?
Oh, I'm pro-cannabis
right.
through and through, so it's no, like, it's okay here but not there or anything like that. To me, it should not be a part of any type of, binding on you applying for a home, a loan, assistance of any kind, because a lot of people don't realize that, if you're on a government-funded program, be it like the SNAP program or housing or something like that, you can still be like a state-approved. So, for instance, I'm in Maryland. I can be a state-approved Maryland marijuana patient, but I'm receiving assistance from the government for, say, housing or something like that. Technically, I'm breaking the law because it's still federally prohibited. Although this medicine has proven to help me, break my opioid addiction or my, chronic pain or whatever, I'm still kind of being demonized. I have to choose between my home and my health now. So it's still so many, factors that go into marijuana use and it being federally prohibited. So my personal experience is I want to just stop, period. I'm not saying you shouldn't drug test for other drugs, but marijuana should not be one of those things that are on drug test lists.
I feel you.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, listed.
Yeah, like the number one, or like, I guess normal, like what they would test for when you go after you get the job and all that. No, yes, on the job, thank you.
which is weird because you can be high on opioids. You could be under the influence of alcohol. You could be high on opioids. You can, as long as you have your prescription for your opioids, you're fine.
Right.
But I have a prescription for marijuana, I possibly can still lose my job. And some states are fighting against that. I think Arizona, Nevada are one of those states. But again, if you're a federal employee in those states, it wouldn't apply to you.
Wow, I had no idea those details existed when it came to, your business for obtaining loans or just the bank accounts and things like that. But despite those roadblocks, can you tell us about your successes?
I was the candidate winner of the National Cannabis Festival in DC last year. They have like a Shark Tank type competition where cannabis businesses pitch to a panel of judges, and it's like a 2-series type of event, 2 rounds, I'm sorry. And I was last year's winner. I was asked to come back this year, which is pretty awesome as a judge.
Dope.
That's always the weekend of 420, which is like the industry's holiday. In Washington, D.C., as a matter of fact. I did a couple of features on various publications, like Maryland Leaf, which is a free cannabis publication that goes into dispensaries and doctor's offices and growers all across the state. They have a couple of chapters around the country, like Alaska, Seattle, I think California. I was asked to be on this podcast, on a Flight of Fancy podcast. Just a few podcasts, local events. Just being out in the community has been a success and being so well received. Most people, oh, that's a good idea, or I didn't think, I didn't know that was possible. Finally, that somebody could help me, with my travel things, or how to travel with my meds or something like that. So
right.
Just this whole thing has been a success so far.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think I saw that festival that you were talking about. So I know you said you were asked to come back this year. Are you planning on going and being a part of that?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Definitely. It was so much fun. Like last year, I was kind of like so nervous until the competition, and then kind of like a yay, like a type of adrenaline rush after that. I really didn't enjoy much of the festival. So now that I'm going back and I'm not under that same pressure, I'm rather excited about all day, just being there all day. Last year was the perfect weather. Everybody's kind of like chill. There's a lot of free samples of things. There's music, food, all types of things. Of course, the food truck line got longer as the day went on.
Right.
So, really, yes. Like I've just watched the progression. They're so funny.
That's
Munchies are a thing.
Right. So, I know in the beginning you did say that you created Front Row Travels for Black women. So I just wanted to ask again, or if there were any other inspirations as to why you created your company.
I don't know if it's just one person in particular, or just like I said before, just Black women in general. Like my whole circle, my whole everything is, like Black women centered, and I see a lot of it just kind of straddling 2 industries, and the cannabis industry and the travel industry is still very white male dominated. We have a chance to change that here in the cannabis industry. So a lot of women of color are coming together. A lot of, people of color in general are coming together, and not let this be like other industries where we're pushed out. So just a lot of events have just been me getting with other Black-owned business owners and just like embracing this whole change. So it's all been an inspiration. It started out with Black women because that's who I am, and it's just sort of like reaffirmed. Just being in this industry has reaffirmed that I already knew, like, we needed a space for us, with us in mind, and with activities with us in mind as well. Else we'll be pushed out again.
No, I like that you've decided to create that space, especially for Black women, because a lot of times when we have an idea or anything like that, we definitely feel the need that we should be more inclusive with our thoughts and ideas of whatever business that we're creating. But the fact is, we definitely need that space, just so we can have those shared experiences and just being able to connect on those levels. So I think it's very valuable in how you've decided to structure your business. And with that, I also wanted to ask, what advice you have for someone who is thinking about starting a business, or anyone that's already in process of having their business.
Just be consistent. Like, it's so easy to, and it's hard not to sound so cliche, but I get what everybody is talking about now, like all the stuff you heard, all of the business advice that you hear, but consistency, I think, is really underestimated. Like, you're going to come across tasks that you don't want to do, that you hate doing, that you're not good at, but they're going to have to consistently be done in order to build your business. Like, even if it's something as simple as posting on social media. I remember I said I hated it.
Right.
But I know I have to do it in order to connect with your audience, and vice versa, in order to, especially because we don't have the same, we're not saying, some of our accounts, as far as like my Facebook ads and, Instagram and things like that, those can get flagged and be shut down because it goes against community standards, because again, cannabis is a Schedule 1, it's still federally prohibited. So just simple things like sending your your audience an ad or something like that, I can't do. So I hate social media, but it's a necessary evil, and I know every day I have to show up, even if nobody replies or you don't get your likes or your followers or whatever, you still have to consistently show up. Same thing if you have a podcast or your, influence on Instagram, your audience still expects you to show up, every day. And that's just part of building that consistency trait in yourself. Like, still have, nobody's saying go out and be Superman. Like, if you're, sick, please take some time for yourself. If you have to attend to something else, go ahead and take time for yourself, but you still have to know that they're looking for you to be consistent. So
absolutely, I agree on that one. Because like you mentioned, having a podcast, so my episodes are every other Wednesday. So right now I'm just more or less in the content phase, just recording and doing edits. So when April 1st comes, it's just way easier just to post on those specific Wednesdays. So that is truly what I've made my my goal to be, and just to be consistent with that, because I know during my first season there was one I was on the struggle bus with editing and getting everything in line and on point. And I could have totally been I'll post it tomorrow, but I was nope, I gotta do it, because if I make this exception now, it'll be way easier to do that, down the road. So, and just trying to keep a schedule.
Still be gentle with yourself. Yeah, like you said, schedule is a big part of it. I might not know what I'm going to talk about that day, but I know I'm going to talk about something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just even having the smallest. Or you might not know, exactly what you want to talk about, but it's centered around a holiday or something. It's ways to kind of set yourself up to make it easier to, just show up and be consistent.
Agreed. I definitely agree on that one. So it's just all just having that schedule and, kind of sticking to it. And like you said, if you are sick, definitely take that time, because it's only going to get worse in the long run. So you definitely have to take care of your health.
Yeah, you have some people that try to be like superwoman.
Yeah.
Try everything. We're still human, and your audience will understand that too, that you're still human. But, don't let your lack of consistency make you quit. Because that's what happens. Eventually, like, you'll stop doing it, and you look up and you haven't done it in 6 months as opposed to, 6 days or something. So
Yep.
just try to keep up with whatever you're doing in your business to start it. You got to keep doing it to maintain it.
Absolutely. And so, in the spirit of talking about Superwoman, how do you like to relax or reset your mind so you can continue being that wonderful CEO of your business?
Weed. I'm not going to lie to you.
I hear you. I like that.
Weed. And and like I've mentioned before, it's so much more than just being like this typical stoner type thing. Like, I plan my day, I don't want to say around my weed, but as a general rule of thumb, like sativas are more uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
I do tend to either eat or smoke those during that more during the day, and it helps me to knock out so many tasks and focus on what I'm doing, and give me the energy I need. And indica's at night, so like, to help you kind of mellow out your day or whatever, you can have a little bit of, it's so many, it's hundreds, if not thousands of strains. And it's I don't want to get into how you know what you have and blah, 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 because some people swear it's no different, but this is just what works for me. I'll, do a tea or something, like a tincture, and just relax the rest of the night. So weed and travel. It's hard to imagine like the same thing I do as work is also my, relaxation, but I'm just lucky enough to have those two things.
Absolutely. And not many of us can say that, so you definitely are one of the lucky ones.
Yes.
So with your travel destinations, like, how do you determine where to go, or like, and then also what has been some of the most memorable trips that you've cultivated?
Well, I do both group and private. So if a couple said, hey, me and 3 friends want to go, they already have the place in mind, I can help them with that. And I also do group guided tours that I have, that I host myself. And we've been to your usual, like, Jamaica and Denver and LA and Vegas and places like that. So I like to for my group trips, I like to do things that are, that can be done with everybody in mind, like all different levels. So like I said, Las Vegas, places like Toronto or Amsterdam. Yesterday I just released our South Africa tour for 2021. So it's really not any one particular place that like moves me. They all have, like their different appeal. Like Alaska is different from Hawaii, which is different from Barcelona, but they're all places that cannabis are welcome.
Right.
And then sometimes some places, like Jamaica, technically it's illegal for tourists in Jamaica, but it's been known for centuries to feel like that Jamaica is the spot to go. There's no shortage of weed in Jamaica. There's no shortage of offerings of weed in Jamaica. So some places, though they're illegal on the books, they look the other way for tourists. They know that would drive their tourist market. So they're a little, as long as you're not a travel jerk, as I put it, they don't bother you. Just some places I've always wanted to visit just happen to be, on the verge of like becoming a hotspot for cannabis. So like Australia, for instance, like some places just sell themselves, and cannabis just makes it even more better. So.
Right, absolutely. Well, that's cool. Yeah, because because I was just thinking, like, so how do you determine what locations to go to, or like, how do you set those tours up?
Yeah, just feedback from clients. Like I said, some people tell me where they want to go. I also have like my Facebook group and IG followers. I ask them, like, sometimes I have to take myself out of the equation.
Right.
I might always like, warm temperatures and beaches, but some people do like, Amsterdam or Alaska, like in the winter, and they love cold sports. I don't know what's wrong with them. Don't ask me. But there's people out there that like these things. So I just poll my audience, see where they want to go. A festival of some sort might be happening at this one. I think Thailand is getting ready to have like one of the biggest cannabis expos in the world. I think either this year or early next year or something like that. So people just want to flock whatever's trending too.
Right. Well, I was going to say, so if you need like a travel buddy, or me to document your videos, hit me up. You know what I'm saying?
Research and development team. I got you, Mike.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I call it, the R&D department.
Nice. Yeah, hit me up. I'll be more than welcome to tag along.
It's weird because I feel like it does sound fun, but when you're hosting a trip, people don't understand it's like a great amount of anxiety because you have like 20 different personalities. You're trying to make sure everybody's having a good time and things are where they're supposed to be, and you're corralling people because some people party a little too much in Jamaica the night before and they can't go ATVing, so you have to make sure they're accounted for. It's fun a little bit. It's not as bad as other jobs, I'll put it that way.
True.
But it's not as relaxing as one might think.
Understood. So that's all the more reason why on your next one you just gotta call me up.
Yes. So let me tell you if I like it or not. Let me try it first.
Absolutely.
might like it.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. So what do you see within your journey? Like, what's to come next for you and Front Row Travels?
Just focusing on changing the conversation around, like, cannabis use, just to continue to break the stigma through travel and education, holding more local events so that people can put a name to a face, come out and people that look like them, people that sound like them, have their best interests in mind. And, be around other like-minded people. We're slowly but surely, I hate saying like coming out of the shadows, but it's kind of amazing seeing like you have like your 5 o'clock somewhere crowd. I have a shirt that says like it's 4:20 somewhere. Like just like you have the whole socialism around drinking, I kind of want to build that up for Black women around cannabis use. Like we can meet up and smoke a joint, complain about our day the same way we would do over a glass of wine. We can do that over a blunt, a bowl, a dab, or whatever, whatever have you, and still be we don't grow horns and tails and we're all of a sudden this demon or anything. Like you would actually see that you'll be happier, truthfully. Like my attitude has changed dramatically with my like structured cannabis use versus I was never like a drinker, but it's still like I don't understand why the stigma is still there when it's just been so much proven otherwise. So that's my journey, just to keep helping to break the propaganda, help people get a little more comfortable with it's more than just smoking. It's so many other ways we could consume it. There's so many other medicinal benefits that we can talk about over, a joint or over whatever. Or if you just want to sit there and be quiet, you know what I mean? And think and meditate, we can do that too, because it tends not to happen with alcohol. I think alcohol makes some people, especially me, a little more rowdy. Whereas when I smoke, I'm just like, oh, okay. All right. You know what I mean?
Relaxed.
Just more relaxed. So,
Yep.
Yes.
Relaxed. No, I get you. Absolutely. No, but that's cool. Like, I like that idea because, like we said, we do have these mixers and all this other avenues to meet up, network, and stuff like that. But I do think that is important, especially with your business, to educate them and just understand like, hey, it's not as bad as what you think or what you may have read. Because truly, like with the whole alcohol and stuff like that, I just remember like a long time ago. So I mean, I'm still basically like a virgin in this cannabis CBD life. So
oh yeah, and that's the thing, we all are. It's a safe space. That's everybody's favorite word now, but it's a safe space.
Right. And so it's just like the comparison, like you had mentioned, just with the use of cannabis versus alcohol, and like how many more accidents or certain things occur when drinking, or you know what I mean? So I feel you, but I definitely feel like there's probably like some underlying reasons as to why they're not, pushing even more. But I will say it has progressed a lot, because before it was illegal everywhere, in the US, we should say. But now, different states are jumping on the wagon and, making it legal state-wise, but...
Whole festivals now.
Yep.
So like before, where you had to like go and like hide in the back of a Taco Bell like parking lot and hope that, or you had the towels under the hotel door and you're trying to like blow the smoke out of the window or turn on the shower, like all these like dubious things to hide it. Like we're now having entire festivals and restaurants and travel agencies and podcasts and
Dope.
all these things are coming out as like a, hey, look, we told you, like we've been living amongst you forever now.
Right.
But now we're, like we've always been here, and I don't know, eventually, hopefully the conversation will shift, and you always have your naysayers. There's people that's still against alcohol use, so it's not that it'll never end. But I just want people to make an informed decision.
Absolutely. And with people like you, of course, and then with these festivals, that is the ultimate goal. Like, obviously, yes, to bring people together, but to give them the correct information so they can at least make an informed decision about it. But I mean, like you said, with your company, this is for people who actually use, so we're not here to have the negativity or anything like that. So it's just a good, positive environment, and just for people to connect and just get educated. So I think what you're doing is really huge, and just contributing really heavy to, the industry. So I commend you on that.
Thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned, like I always mention who my company is ideal for, but I also tell you who we're not for. And it's like, if you're anti-cannabis, this is not the spot for you. If you're judgmental, this is not, the spot for you or the agency, because we do, while if you don't consume, you're still welcome to, come on our tours, but you can't be the type that's, I don't like that smell, or, looking at people judgmental, like that's not what we're here for. But I do offer, I have couples all the time that one might not consume because of, job or whatever, but their spouse can. So it's sort of like, you could go to the weed farm tour with us if you want to learn about cannabis. You don't have to smoke it or anything. It's ways to support cannabis without actually consuming it. So
absolutely.
And joining a travel group is one of those ways, because you can go around the world and see how it's used, see its benefits, see what other people think, and just have a conversation and get educated. You don't even have to consume any of it,
right,
to learn about it.
Absolutely. Now, and I know you just said be a contributor, and I know when we were talking a little bit ago, you had said you have a shirt that says it's 420 somewhere. So do you personally make those shirts, or was that just a shirt you found somewhere randomly?
Oh no, it's not my saying or anything, but no, I make those shirts. I have them on my website, actually.
Dope.
I have one that's a joint custody shirt, so it's on frontrowtravels.com.
I like that.
A joint custody shirt is 420 somewhere, and I forgot the other design. Oh, it's a silhouette of a woman. But yeah, they're on my website. I always, like I said, it's ways to promote or, contribute to the conversation with cannabis without actually consuming it.
Yeah, no, I think that is the best way to self-promote is through the t-shirts and everything like that. So I think that's definitely a good idea. I know for me, I did create some t-shirts for my podcast and everything like that. So, another way to promote without using social media. So before we get out of here, I know you mentioned that you do have social media and of course your website, but where can my listeners find you and connect with you?
Facebook, of course. I have a Facebook travel group called Front Row Travels. On IG, it's Front Row Travels LLC. And on Twitter, it's just Front Row Travel without the S. We're not going to talk about that there. But
girl, I'm feel you on that.
The S is deliberately left off on that one. You can also email me at Ayanna@frontrowtravels.com. I always answer emails. I still recognize that there are people that, even do jobs can't even be associated with it. So they might have a question that's not, they don't want to make publicly or something like that. But I have people inbox me and email me all the time. Just questions like, what CBD will work best for this, or where can I, how can I pass this drug test? And all types of weird questions. So I'm always available, probably through email best, but can be found across all social media.
Awesome. Well, guys, make sure you check out her website and her social so you can stay in contact. But Ayanna, I just want to thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome, Courtney.
Well, guys, that concludes another episode of Flight of Fancy. But until the next one, keep creating. Bye.